Star Acer Academy has everything you want in a school. It's got world-class teachers, high-tech classrooms, a particle accelerator, an underground biosphere, space telescope, and a garden full of rockets. And all of it is just minutes from the beach, and yet it exists only as a web comic. Doesn't mean that Star Acer Academy couldn't change the lives of island kids, though. Geoff Steeves is a physics professor at the University of Victoria and co-founder of Star Acer Academy. And he joins me in the studio this morning. Hello, Geoff.
Good morning, Cleo. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Great.
So what do you want to do with Star Acer Academy, this comic?
Well, we thought of the Star Acer Academy as a place that students can go if they want to grow up to be astronauts. And so we're telling a comic book tale where kids get on a school bus, they go out to the Star Acer Academy. It's actually set kind of around Tofino right now because I thought, where better on Earth to do all sorts of things that you'd need to do if you wanted to be an astronaut when you grow up, you know, rock climbing, doing underwater exploration, all these things can happen there. So we're hoping to tell stories where students use science to solve problems. So we see so much stuff, in the movies today and in books where kids are using magic or they're using superpowers to solve problems. Well, yeah. I think we can create all sorts of amazing situations where the solution is in science. And we want to kind of demonstrate to kids that there's incredible value in learning all the different subjects that they're learning in school at an elementary school level, and that they're going to be able to put this stuff into use, and it's really going to help them in life.
So how do you hope teachers will use this webcomic in a practical sense in a classroom?
So what we're developing is two different things. We're developing the webcomic, which is a story, which is allowing kids to see how science is being used. We're also working with teachers here in BC to develop curriculum-based classroom activities where students get to kind of put what they learn to the test. So we're calling these the Star Acer missions. We've been developing them with Jason Bowers and Magnus Hanton at a Montessori school just out in Metchosin. And by developing these, working with teachers, we're able to base this in the curriculum, but then come up with scenarios like the Canada Arm is stuck. And so that's why we need to learn about mechanical advantage and pulleys and levers, you know. So we're trying to create a number of different scenarios where, kids can learn what they need to learn in class, but see how to apply it and explore how to apply it.
That's one of the challenges, I suppose, especially when you're talking about physics. Sometimes it's not a very tangible thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's right. But I mean, from my point of view, it's completely tangible. It's just that there's kind of a communication gap there. And we see this a lot between scientists working in the field and teachers in elementary schools, is we really want to try to develop bridges and open up communications across what can be a little bit of a gap so that teachers know interesting things that we're working on that they can bring into the classroom to help make what they're learning seem real, seem important.
You also teach at the International Space University.
That's right.
That's a real thing.
It is a real thing. It's quite a remarkable program. People from all over the world come to the International Space University, and Canada always has a great representation there. We normally have about 120 or 130 students from about 40 or so different countries. We've had students come from almost every country on Earth now. It's been going 25 years.
This is where, in Houston?
It changes every year. The campus, the main campus is in Strasbourg, France, but this summer we just came back from an amazing space studies program at Florida Tech and at the Kennedy Space Center. So down in Florida, and it's really an amazing organization. And if you dream of going into space, if you dream of working in the space industry, think about going to International Space University at some point in your career.
So that's International Space University. You were also in Houston giving a TEDx talk about this project specifically. How did that go?
That was quite an experience. It was really, really hard is how I would put it. I think it went well, but I really didn't know what I was getting myself into when I signed up. It was just a lot of practice and because it's a little bit of a performance. You know, you're trying to deliver a message, but you're trying to make it broad. You're trying to tell a story and give a performance, and those were things I've done many lectures in my life, but normally I'm kind of looking up at the slides and trying to figure out what I should say, based on what's up there. This was much more trying to be a little bit of an actor and give a performance, but it was a great experience, and it got me down to Houston. And just yesterday and the day before, we actually met up with some of Canada's astronauts. I understand Julie Payette was here in Victoria.
She was.
The other night. Well, we were meeting up with David Saint-Jacques and Jeremy Hansen, and they gave us a wonderful tour of the Johnson Space Center. And this is actually inspiring some new Star Racer comics. So we learned about some of the research that they're doing right now on space exploration, and we're going to be building that into our comics. So our comics are going to have a lot of real stuff in them, but we're just going to create an adventure story based around that.
Sure. Perhaps a little shout out to Neil Armstrong might be in order in the comic as well.
Absolutely. Actually, we've been thinking about that. We did a special comic page when Curiosity landed on Mars, and we're going to try to do something special for Neil. We're not exactly sure what we're going to do yet, but I was actually backstage at TEDx before I was going to go on. When we learned the news. This was on Saturday, and so it was a very dramatic moment. We had a moment of silence, and Nicole Stott, an American astronaut, had just spoken. So her and her husband and a number of people got up on stage and kind of gave personal tributes to Neil, those of them who knew him. So it was a special moment.
Well, Geoff Steeves, thanks for coming into the studio this morning. It sounds like an interesting project.
Yeah, thank you very much, Khalil.
Geoff Steeves is a physics professor at the University of Victoria and co-founder of Star Racer Academy. You can check out Star Racers yourself at starracers.com.